First Adam and Chava, chapter 40. Then the word of YAHSHUA came unto Adam, and said thus unto him, O Adam, why hadst thou not this dread, neither this fasting, nor this care ere this? And why hast thou not this fear before thou didst this transgression? But when thou camest to dwell in this strange land, thy animal body could not be on earth without earthly food, to strengthen it and to restore its power. And Elohim withdrew his word from Adam. First Adam and Chava, chapter 41. Then Adam took the fig and laid it on the golden rods. Eve also took her fig and put it upon the incense. And the weight of each fig was that of a watermelon, for the fruit of the garden was much larger than the fruit of this land. But Adam and Chava remained standing and fasting the whole of the night until the morning dawned. When the sun arose, there were their prayers, and Adam said unto Chava, after they had done praying, O Chava, come, let us go to the border of the garden, looking south to the place whence the river flows, and is parted into 4 heads. There we will pray to YAHSHUA, Elohim, and ask him to give us to drink of the water of YAHSHUA, life. For Elohim has not fed us with the tree of life, in order that we may not live. We will therefore ask him to give us of the water of life, and to quench our thirst with it, rather than with a drink of water of this land. When Chava heard these words from Adam, she agreed, and they both arose and came to the southern border of the garden, upon the brink of the river of water, at some little distance from the garden. And they stood and prayed before YAHSHUA, and asked him to look upon them this once, to forgive them and to grant them their request. After this prayer from both of them, Adam began to pray with his voice before Elohim, and said, O YAHSHUA, when I was in the garden and saw the water that flowed from under the tree of life, my heart did not desire, neither did my body require to drink of it, neither did I know thirst, for I was living and above that which I am now. So that I, in order to live, I did not require any food of life, neither did I drink of the water of life. But now, O Elohim, I am dead. My flesh is parched with thirst. Give me of the water of life, that I may drink of it and live. Kai, of thy mercy, your chesed, O Elohim, save me from these plagues and trials, and bring me into another land different from this, if thou wilt not let me dwell in thy garden. First Adam and Chava, chapter 42. When came the word of Elohim to Adam, and said unto him, O Adam, as thou sayest, bring me into a land where there is rest, it is not another land than this, but it is the kingdom of heaven, Malkut Shamayim, where alone there is rest. But thou canst make the entrance into it at present, but only after thy judgment is past and fulfilled. Then I will make thee go up into the Malkut of Shamayim, the kingdom of heaven, thee and thy righteous seed, and I will give thee and them the rest thou asked for at present. And if thou saidest, Give me of the water of YAHSHUA, of life, that I may drink and live, it cannot be this day, but on the day that I shall descend into hell, and break the gates of brass, and bruise the pieces of kingdoms of iron. Then will I in chesed, mercy, save thy soul and thy souls of the righteous, the Zadok, to give them shalom, rest, in my garden. And that shall be when the end of the world is come. And again, as regards the water of YAHSHUA, of life, Mayim Hayim, thou seekest it will not be granted thee this day, but on the day that I shall shed my blood upon thy head in the land of the skull Golgotha. For my blood shall be the water of life unto thee at thy time, and not to thee alone, but unto all those of thy seed who shall believe in me, that it be unto them for a rest forever. And Yahweh said again unto Adam, O Adam, when thou wast in the garden, these trials did not come to thee, but since thou didst transgress my mitzvot, my commandments, all these sufferings have come upon thee. Now also does thy flesh require food and drink. Drink then of the water that flows by thee on the face of the earth. Then Elohim withdrew his word from Adam. And Adam and Chava worshipped Yahweh, and returned from the river of water to the cave. It was noonday, and when they drew near to the cave, they saw a large fire by it. First Adam and Chava, chapter 43. Then Adam and Chava were afraid and stood still. And Adam said to Chava, What is that fire by our cave? We do nothing in it to bring about this fire. We neither have bread to bake therein, nor both to cook therein. As to this fire, we know not the like, neither do we know what to call it. But since Elohim sent the cherub with a sword of fire that flashes, and lightning in his hand, from fear of which we fell down and were like corpses, have we not seen like this? But now, O Chava, behold, this is the same fire that was in the cherub's hand, which Elohim has sent to keep the cave in which we dwell. O Chava, it is because Elohim is angry with us, and we will drive us from it. O Chava, we have again transgressed his commandment in the cave, so that he had sent this fire to burn around it and prevent us from going into it. If this be really so, O Chava, where shall we dwell? And whither shall we flee from before the face of YAHSHUA? Since, as regards to the garden, he will not let us abide in it, and he has deprived us of the good things thereof, but he has placed us in this cave, in which we have borne darkness, trials, hardship, until at last we found comfort therein. But now that he has brought us out into another land, who knows what may happen to it in it? And who knows but the darkness of the land may be far greater than the darkness of this land? Who knows what may happen in the land by day or by night? And who knows whether it will be far or near? O Chava, where it will please Elohim to put us may be far from the garden, O Chava, or where Elohim will prevent us from beholding him because we have transgressed his commandments, and because we have made requests unto him at all times. O Chava, if Elohim will bring us into a strange land other than this, in which we find consolation, it must be to put our souls to death and blot out our name from the face of the earth. O Chava, if we are farther estranged from the garden and from Elohim, where shall we find him again? And ask him to give us gold, incense, myrrh, and some fruit of the fig tree. Where shall we find him to comfort us a second time? Where shall we find him that he may think of us as regards the covenant he has made on our behalf? Then Adam said no more, and they kept looking, he and Chava, toward the cave, and at the fire that burned up around it. But that fire was from Satan, for he had gathered trees and dry grasses, and had carried and brought them to the cave, and had set fire to them, in order to consume the cave and what was in it, so that Adam and Chava should be left in sorrow, and he should cut off their trust in Elohim, and make them deny him. But by the chesed, the mercy of Elohim, he could not burn the cave, for Elohim sent his Melech, his angel, round the cave to guard it from such a fire until it went out. And this fire lasted from noonday until the break of day. That was the 45th day. 1 Adam and Chava, chapter 44. Yet Adam and Chava were standing and looking at the fire, and unable to come near the cave from their dread of the fire. And Satan kept on bringing trees and throwing them onto the fire until the flame thereof rose up on high and covered the whole cave, thinking, as he did in his own mind, to consume the cave with much fire. But the angel of YAHSHUA, Melech Yahweh, was guarding it, and yet he could not curse Satan, nor injure him by word, because he had no authority over him, neither did he take to doing so with words from his mouth. Therefore did the Melachim bear with him, without saying one bad word, until the word of Elohim came, who said to Satan, Go hence. Once before didst thou deceive my servants, and this time thou seekest to destroy them. Were it not for my chesed, my mercy, I would have destroyed thee and thy host from off of the earth. But I have had patience with thee unto the end of this world. Then Satan fled from before Elohim YAHSHUA. But the fire went on burning around the cave like a coal fire the whole day, which was the 46th day Adam and Chava had spent since they came out of the garden. And when Adam and Chava saw that the heat of the fire had somewhat cooled down, they began to walk toward the cave to get into it as they want. But they could not by reason of the heat of the fire. Then they both took to weeping because of the fire that made separation between them and the cave, and that drew toward them burning, and they were afraid. Then Adam said to Chava, See this fire of which we have a portion in us, which formerly yielded to us, but no longer does so, now that we have transgressed the limit of creation and changed our condition, and our nature is altered. But the fire is not changed in its nature, nor altered from its creation. Therefore, it has it now power over us, and when we come near it, it scorches our flesh. First Adam and Chava, chapter 45. Then Adam rose and prayed unto Elohim, saying, See, this fire has made separation between us and thy cave in which thou hast commanded us to dwell. But now, behold, we cannot go into it. Then Elohim heard Adam, and sent him his word that said, O Adam, see this fire, how different the flame and the heat thereof are from the garden of delights, and the good tov things in it. When thou wast under my control, all creatures yielded to thee. But after thou hast transgressed my mitzvos, my Torah, my commandments, they all rise over thee. Again said Elohim unto him, See, O Adam, how Satan has exalted thee. He has deprived thee of your being Elohim, and of an exalted state like unto me, and has not kept his word to thee, but after all is become thy foe. It is he who made this fire in which he meant to burn thee and Chava. Why, Adam, has he not kept his agreement with thee? Not even one day, but has deprived thee of the glory of that was on thee, when thou didst yield to his command. Thinkest thou, Adam, that he loved thee when he made this agreement with thee? Or that he loved thee and wished to raise thee on high? But no, Adam, he did not do all that out of love to thee, but he wished to make thee come out of light into darkness, and from an exalted state to degradation, from kavod, glory, to abasement, from simcha, joy, to sorrow, and from rest, shalom, to fasting and fainting. Elohim said also to Adam, See this fire kindled by Satan around thy cave? See this wonder that surrounds thee, and know that it will encompass about both thee and thy seed when ye hearken to his behest, that he will plague you with fire, and that ye shall go down into Sheol, hell, after ye are dead. Then shall ye see the burning of his fire, that will thus be burning around you and your seed. There shall be no deliverance from it for you, but at my coming, in like manner as thou canst not go into thy cave by reason of the great fire around it, not until my word shall come, that will make a way for thee on the day my covenant is fulfilled. There is no way for thee at present to come from hence to rest, not until my devorim, my word, comes. Who is my word? Then will he make a way for thee, and thou shalt have shalom, rest. Then Elohim called with his word to the fire that burned around the cave, that it part itself asunder until Adam had gone through it. Then the fire parted itself by Elohim's order, and a way was made for Adam. And Elohim withdrew his word from Adam. 1 Adam and Chava 46. Then Adam and Chava began again to come into the cave, and when they came to the way between the fire, Satan blew into the fire like a whirlwind, and made on Adam and Chava a burning coal fire, so that their bodies were singed, and the coal fire scorched them. And from the burning of the fire, Adam and Chava cried aloud and said, O YAHSHUA, save us! Leave us not to the consumed and plagued by the burning fire, neither require us for having transgressed thy commandment. Then Elohim looked upon their bodies, on which Satan had caused fire to burn, and Elohim sent his Melachim that stayed the wounds, the burning fire. But the wounds remained on their bodies. And Elohim said unto Adam, See Satan's love for thee, who pretended to give thee the God head and greatness, and behold, he burns thee with fire, and seeks to destroy thee from off the earth. Then look at me, O Adam. I created thee, and how many times have I delivered thee out of his hands? If not, would he not have destroyed thee? Elohim said again to Chava, What is that he promised thee in the garden, saying, At the time ye shall eat of the tree, your eyes will be opened, and you shall become like gods, knowing good and evil. But lo, he has burnt your bodies with fire, and has made you taste the taste of fire, for the taste of the garden, and has made you see the burning of fire, and the evil thereof, and the power it has over you. Your eyes have seen the good he has taken from you, and in truth he has opened your eyes, and you have seen the garden in which ye were with me, and ye have also seen the evil that has come upon you from the adversary Satan. But as to the God head, he cannot give it to you, neither fulfill his speech to you. Nay, he was bitter against you and your seed that will come after you. And Elohim withdrew his word from them. First Adam and Chava, 47. Then Adam and Chava came into the cave, yet trembling at the fire that had scorched their bodies. So Adam said unto Chava, Lo, the fire has burnt our flesh in this world, but how will it be when we are dead, and Satan shall punish our souls? Is not our deliverance long and far off, unless Elohim come, and in mercy to us fulfill his promise? Then Adam and Chava passed into the cave, baruching, blessing themselves to come into it once more. And it was in their thoughts that they should never enter it when they saw the fire around it. But as the sun was setting, the fire was still burning and nearing Adam and Chava in the cave, so that they could not sleep in it. After the sun had set, they went out of it. This was the 47th day after they came out of the garden. Adam and Chava then came under the top of the hill by the garden to sleep, as they wont. And they stood and prayed Yahweh to forgive them of their sins, and then fell asleep under the summit of the mountain. But Satan, the hater of all that is tov, good, thought within himself, whereas Elohim has promised salvation to Adam by covenant, and that he would deliver him out of all the hardships that have been befallen him, but has not promised me by covenant, and will not deliver me out of my hardship. Nay, since he has promised him that he should make him and his seed dwell in the kingdom in which I once was, I will kill Adam. The earth shall be rid of him, and shall be left to me alone, so that when he is dead, he may not have any seed left to inherit the kingdom that shall remain my own realm. Elohim will then be in want of me, and he will restore me to it with my hosts. First Adam and Chava, 48. After this, Satan called to his hosts, all of which came to him, and said unto him, O our Lord, what wilt thou do? He then said unto them, Ye know that this Adam, whom Elohim created out of the dust, is he who has taken our kingdom. Come, let us gather together and kill him, or hurl a rock at him and at CHAVAH, and crush them under it. When Satan's hosts heard these words, they came to the part of the mountain where Adam and CHAVAH were asleep. Then Satan and his hosts took a huge rock, broad and even, and without blemish, thinking them within himself, if there should be a hole in the rock, when it fell on them, the hole in the rock might come upon them, so they would escape and not die. He then said to his hosts, Take up this stone, and throw it flat upon them, so that it roll not from them to somewhere else. And where ye have hurled it, flee and tarry not. And they did as he bid them, but as the rock fell down from the mountain upon Adam and CHAVAH, Elohim commanded it to become a kind of shed over them, so that did them no harm, and so it was by Elohim's order. But when the rock fell, the whole earth quaked with it, and was shaken from the size of the rock. And it, as it quaked and shook, Adam and CHAVAH awoke from their sleep, and found themselves under a rock like a sukkah, a shed. But they knew not how it was, for when they fell asleep, they were under the sky, and not under a covering, a shed or a sukkah. And when they saw it, they were afraid. Then Adam said to CHAVAH, Wherefore has the mountain bent itself, and the earth quaked and shaken on our account? And why is this rock spread itself over us like a tent? Does Elohim intend to plague us and to shut us up in this prison? Or will he close the earth upon us? He is angry with us for our having come out of the cave without his order, and for our having done so of our own accord, without consulting him, when we left the cave and came to this place. Then CHAVAH said, If indeed the earth quaked for our sake, and this rock forms a tent over us because of our transgression, then woe be to us, O Adam, for our punishment will be long. But arise and pray to Elohim to let us know concerning this, and what this rock is that is spread over us like a tent, sukkah. Then Adam stood up and prayed before YAHSHUA to let him know about this strait. And Adam thus stood praying until this morning, or the morning. First scroll of Adam and CHAVAH, chapter 49. Then the word of Elohim came and said, O Adam, who consoled thee when thou camest out of the cave to come to this place? And Adam said unto Elohim, O YAHSHUA, we came to this place because of the heat of the fire that came upon us inside the cave. Then YAHSHUA Elohim said unto Adam, O Adam, thou dreadest the heat of fire for one night, but how will it be when thou dwellest in Sheol? Yet, O Adam, fear not, neither say in thy heart that I have spread this rock as an awning over thee, to plague thee therewith. It came from Satan, who had promised thee the God head and majesty. It is he who drew down this rock to kill thee under it, and CHAVAH with thee, and thus to prevent you from living upon the earth. But in chesed, in mercy for you, just as that rock was falling down upon you, I commanded it to form an awning over you, and the rock under you, to lower itself. And this sign, O Adam, will happen to me at my coming upon the earth. Satan will raise the people of the Jews to put me to death, and they will lay me in a rock, and seal a large stone upon me, and I shall remain within that rock 3 days and 3 nights, but on the third day I shall rise again, and it shall be salvation to thee, O Adam, and to thy seed, to believe in me. But, O Adam, I will not bring thee from under this rock until 3 days and 3 nights are past. And Elohim withdrew his word from Adam. But Adam and CHAVAH abode under that rock 3 days and 3 nights, as Elohim had told them. And Elohim did so to them because they had left their cave and had come to this same place without Elohim's order. But after 3 days and 3 nights, Elohim opened the rock and brought them out from under it. Their flesh was dried up, and their eyes and their hearts were troubled from weeping and sorrow. First Scroll of Adam and CHAVAH, chapter 50. Then Adam and CHAVAH went forth, and came into the cave of treasures, and they stood praying in it the whole of the day, until the evening. And this took place at the end of the 50 days after they had left the garden. But Adam and CHAVAH rose again and prayed to Elohim in the cave the whole of that night, and begged him for mercy from him. And when the day dawned, Adam said unto CHAVAH, Come, let us go and do some work for our bodies. So they went out of the cave, and came to the northern border of the garden. And they sought something to cover their bodies withal. But they found nothing, and knew not how to do the work. Yet their bodies were stained, and they were speechless from cold and heat. Then Adam stood and asked Elohim to show him something wherewith to cover their bodies. Then came the word of Elohim, and said unto him, O Adam, take CHAVAH, and come to the seashore, where ye fasted before. There ye shall find skins of sheep, whose flesh was devoured by lions, and whose skins were left. Take them, and make raiment for yourselves, and clothe yourselves withal. First book of Adam and Chava, chapter 51. When Adam heard the words from Elohim, he took CHAVAH and removed from the northern end of the garden to the south of it, by the river of the water, where they once fasted. But as they were going in the way, and before they reached the place, Satan, the wicked one, had heard the word of YAHSHUA communing with Adam respecting his covering. And it grieved him, and he hastened to the place where the sheepskins were, and the intention of taking them and throwing them into the sea, or of burning them with fire, that Adam and CHAVAH should not find them. But as he was about to take them, the word of Elohim came from Shamayim, from heaven, and bound him by the side of those skins until Adam and CHAVAH came near him. But as they neared him, they were afraid of him, and of his hideous look. Then came the word of Elohim to Adam and CHAVAH, and said to them, This is he who was hidden in the serpent, and who deceived you, and stripped you of the garment of light and Shekinah glory, in which you were. This is he who promised you majesty and divinity. Where then is the beauty that was on him? Where is his divinity? Where is his light? Where is his glory that rested on him? Now this figure is hideous. He is become abominable among angels, the Melachim, and he has come to be called the adversary, Satan. O Adam, he wished to take from you the earthly garments of sheepskins, and to destroy it, and not let you be covered with it. What then is his beauty that you should have followed him? And what have you gained by hearkening to him? See his evil works, and then look at me, your Creator, and at the good deeds I do you. See, I bound him until you came and saw him, and beheld his weakness, that no power is left with him. And Elohim released him from his bonds. First Adam and CHAVAH, chapter 52. After this, Adam and CHAVAH said no more, but wept before Elohim on account of their creation, and of their bodies that required an earthly covering. Then Adam said unto CHAVAH, O CHAVAH, this is the skin of beasts with which we shall be covered. But when we have put it on, behold, a token of death shall have come upon us, inasmuch as the owners of these skins have died, and have wasted away. So also shall we die, and pass away. Then Adam and CHAVAH took the skins, and went back to the cave of treasures. And when in it they stood and prayed as they wont, and they thought how they could make garments of those skins, for they have no skills for them. Then Elohim sent to them his Melachim, his angel, to show them how to work it out. And the angel said to Adam, Go forth and bring some palm thorns. And Adam went out and brought some, as the angel had commanded him. Then the Melachim began before them to work out the skins, after the manner of one who prepares a garment, a shirt. And he took the thorns and stuck them into the skins before their eyes. And the angel again stood up and prayed Elohim that the thorns in those skins should be hidden, so as to be, as it were, sewn with one thread. And so it was, by Elohim's order, they became garments for Adam and Chava, and he clothed them withal. From that time the nakedness of their body was covered from the sight of each other's eyes. And this happened at the end of the 51st day. Then, when Adam's and Chava's bodies were covered, they stood and prayed and sought mercy from Elohim YAHSHUA and forgiveness, and gave him thanks for that he had had mercy upon them, and had covered their nakedness. And they ceased not from prayer the whole of that night. Then, when the morn dawned and the rising of the sun, they said their prayers after their custom, and then went out of the cave. And Adam said unto Chava, Since we know not what there is to the westward of this cave, let us go forth and see it today. Then they came forth and went towards the western border. First Adam and Chava, chapter 53. They were not far from the cave when Satan came towards them and hid himself between them and the cave, under the form of 2 ravenous lions, 3 days without food, and came towards Adam and Chava, as if to break them in pieces and devour them. And Adam and Chava wept, and prayed Elohim to YAHSHUA, deliver them from their paws. Then the Devorim, the word of Elohim, came to them, and drove away the lions from them. And Elohim said unto Adam, O Adam, what seekest thou on the western border? And why hast thou left of thine own accord the eastern border in which was thy dwelling place? Now then, turn back to thy cave, and remain in it, that Satan do not deceive thee, nor his work his purpose upon thee. For in this western border, O Adam, there will go from thee a seed that shall replenish it, and that will defile themselves with the sins and with their yielding to the behests of Satan, and by following his works. Therefore I will bring upon them the waters of a flood, and overwhelm them all. But I will deliver that what is left of the Zadok, the righteous among them, and I will bring them to a distant land, and the land in which thou dwellest now shall remain desolate, and without one inhabitant in it. After Elohim had thus disclosed to them, they went back to the cave of treasures, but their flesh was dried up, and their strength failed from the fasting and praying, and from the sorrow they felt at having trespassed against Elohim. 1 Adam and Chava, chapter 54. Then Adam and Chava stood up in the cave, and prayed the whole of that night until the morning dawned. And when the sun was risen, they both went out of the cave, their heads wandering from heaviness of sorrow, and they not knowing whither they went. And they walked thus unto the southern border of the garden, and they began to go up that border until they came to the eastern border, beyond which there was no further space. And the cherub who guarded the garden was standing at the western gate, and guarding it against Adam and Chava, lest they should suddenly come into the garden. And the cherub turned round, as if to put them to death, according to the commandment of Elohim had given him. When Adam and Chava came to the eastern border of the garden, thinking in their hearts that the cherub was not watching, and they were standing by the gate, as if wishing to go in, suddenly came the cherub with a flashing sword of fire in his hand. And when he saw them, he went forth to kill them. For he was afraid lest Elohim should destroy him if they went into the garden without his order. And the sword of the cherub seemed to flame afar off, but when he raised it over Adam and Chava, the flame thereof did not flash forth. Therefore did the cherub think that Elohim was favorable to them, and was bringing them back into the garden, and the cherub stood wondering. He could not go up to heaven to ascertain Elohim's order regarding their getting into the garden, and therefore abode standing by them, unable as he was to part from them, for he was afraid lest they should enter the garden without leave from Elohim, who then would destroy him. When Adam and Chava saw the cherub coming towards them with a flaming sword of fire in his hand, they fell on their faces from fear, and were as dead. At that time the Shamayim and the Arets, heavens and the earth, shook, and other cherubim came down from heaven to the cherub who guarded the garden, and saw him amazed and silent. Then again other Melachim came down nigh unto the place where Adam and Chava were. They were divided between joy and sorrow. They were glad because they thought that Elohim was favorable to Adam, and wished him to return to the garden, and wished to restore him to the gladness he once enjoyed. But they sorrowed over Adam, because he was fallen like a dead man, he and Chava. And they said in their thoughts, Adam has not died in this place, but Elohim has put him to death, for his having come to this place, and wishing to get into the garden without his consent. First scroll of Adam and Chava, chapter 55. Then came the word of Elohim to Adam and Chava, and raised them from their dead state. saying unto them, Why come ye up hither? Do you intend to go into the garden, from which I brought you out? It cannot be today, but only when the covenant I made with you is fulfilled. Then Adam, when he heard the word of Elohim, and was fluttering of the angels whom he did not see, but only heard the sound of them with his ears, and Eve wept. And he said to the Melechim, O Ruachs, who wait upon Elohim, look upon me, and upon my being unable to see you, for when I was in my former being, bright nature, that I could see you, and I sang praises as you do, and my heart was far above you. But now I have transgressed. That bright nature is gone from me, and I am come to this miserable state. And now I am come to this, that I cannot see you, and you do not serve me as you want, for I am become animal flesh. Yet now, O Melechim, angels of Elohim, ask Elohim with me to restore me to that wherein I was formerly, to rescue me from this misery, and to remove from me the sentence of death. He passed upon me for having transgressed against him. When the Melechim heard these words, they all grieved over him, and cursed Satan, who had beguiled Adam, until he came from the garden to misery, from life to death, from peace, shalom, to trouble, and from gladness to a strange land. Then the Melechim said unto Adam, Thou didst hearken to Satan, and didst forsake the word of Elohim who created thee. And thou didst believe that Satan would fulfill all he would promise thee. But now, O Adam, we will make known to thee what came upon us through him before his fall from heaven. He gathered together his hosts and deceived them, promising them to give them a great kingdom, a divine nature, and other promises he made to them. His hosts believed that his word was true, so they yielded to him and renounced the kavod, the glory of Elohim. He was then sent for us, according to the orders in which we were to come under his command, and to hearken to his vain promise. But we would not, and we took not his advice. Then, after he had fought with Elohim, and had dealt forwardly with him, he gathered together his hosts and made war with us. And if it had not been for Elohim's strength that was with us, we could not have prevailed against him to hurl him from heaven. But when he fell from among us, there was great joy in the Shamayim, the heavens, because of his going down from us. For had he continued in heaven, nothing, not even one angel, would have remained in it. But Elohim, in his chesed, his mercy, drove from him from among us to this dark earth. For he had become darkness itself, and a worker of unrighteousness. And he has continued, O Adam, to make war against thee, until he beguiled thee and made thee come out of the garden to this strange land, where all these trials have come to thee. And death, which Elohim brought upon him, he has also brought to thee, O Adam, because thou didst obey him, and didst transgress against Elohim. Then all the Melechim, the angels, rejoiced and praised Elohim, and asked him not to destroy Adam this time, for this having sought to enter the garden, but to bear with him until the fulfillment of the promise, and to him in this world until he was free from Satan's hand. 1 Adam and Chava 56. Then the word of Elohim came to Adam, and said unto him, O Adam, look at the garden of Simcha, of joy, and of this earth, of the toil, and behold the Melechim who are in the garden, that is full of them, and see thyself alone on this earth with Satan, whom thou didst obey. Yet if thou hast submitted and been obedient to me, and hadst kept my words, thou wouldest be with my Melechim in my garden. And when thou didst transgress and hearken to Satan, thou didst become his guest among his angels that are full of wickedness, and thou comest to this earth that brings forth to see these thorns and thistles. O Adam, ask him who deceived thee, to give thee thy divine nature he promised thee, or to make thee a garden as I had made for thee, or to fill thee with that same bright nature with which I had filled thee. Ask him to make thee a body like the one I made thee, or to give thee a day of rest, Shabbat, as I have given thee, or to create within thee a reasonable soul, as I did create for thee, or to remove thee hence to some other eretz, to some other earth, than this one which I gave thee. But, O Adam, he will not fulfill even one of these things he told of thee. Acknowledge then my favor towards thee, and my chesed, my mercy on thee, my creatures, that I have not requited thee for thy transgressions against me, but in my pity for thee I have promised thee that at the end of the great 5 days and a half I will come and save thee. And Elohim said again to Adam and Chava, Arise, go down hence, lest the cherub with a sword of fire in his hand destroy you. But Adam's heart was comforted by Elohim's words to him, and he worshipped before him. And Elohim commanded his angels to escort Adam and Chava to the cave with Simcha, joy, instead of the fear that had come upon them. Then the Melechim took up Adam and Chava and brought them down from the mountain by the garden with songs and psalms until they brought them to the cave. There the Melechim began to comfort them and to strengthen them, and then departed from them toward heaven, to their Creator who had sent them. But after the angels were gone from Adam and Chava, came Satan with shamefacedness, and stood at the entrance of the cave in which were Adam and Chava. He then called to Adam and said, O Adam, come, let me speak to thee. Then Adam came out of the cave, thinking it was one of Elohim's angels that was come to give him some good counsel. First Adam and Chava, chapter 57. But when Adam came out and saw his hideous figure, he was afraid of him, and said unto him, Who art thou? Then Satan answered and said unto him, It is I, who hid myself within the serpent, the Nahash, and who talked to Chava, and beguiled her until she hearkened to my command. I am he who sent her through the wiles of my speech to deceive thee until thou and she ate of the fruit of the tree. And ye came out away from under the command of Elohim. But when Adam heard these words from him, he said unto him, Canst thou make me a garden as Elohim made for me? Or canst thou clothe me in the same bright nature in which Elohim had clothed me? Where is the divine nature thou didst promise to give me? Where is that fair speech of thine thou didst hold with us at first, when we were in the garden? Then Satan said unto Adam, Thinkest thou that when I have spoken to one about anything, I shall ever bring it to him or fulfill my word? Not so, for I myself have never even thought of obtaining what I asked. Therefore did I fall, and did I make you fall by that for which I myself fell, and with you also. Whosoever accepts my counsel falls thereby. But now, Adam, by reason of thy fall, thou art under my rule, and I am king over thee, because thou hast hearkened to me, and hast transgressed against thy Elohim. Neither will there be any deliverance from my hand until the day promised thee by Elohim. And again he said, Inasmuch as we do not know the day agreed upon with thee by Elohim, nor the hour in which thou shalt be delivered, for that reason will we multiply war and murder upon thee and thy seed after thee. This is our will and our good pleasure, that we may not leave one of the sons of men to inherit our orders in heaven. For as to our abode, O Adam, it is in the burning fire, and we will not cease our evil doing, no, not one day nor 1 hour. O Adam, I shall show fire upon thee when thou comest into the cave to dwell there. When Adam heard these words, he wept, and mourned, and said unto Chava, Hear what he said, that he will not fulfill aught to what he told thee in the garden. Did he really then become king over us? But we ask Elohim, who created us, to deliver us out of his hands. First Adam and Chava, chapter 58. Then Adam and Chava spread their hands unto Elohim, praying and entreating him to drive Satan away from them, that he do them no violence, and do not force them to deny Elohim. Then Elohim sent to them at once his Melachim, who drove away Satan from them. This happened about sunset on the 53rd day after they came out of the garden. And Adam and Chava went into the cave and stood up and turned their faces to the earth and prayed to Elohim. But ere they prayed, Adam said unto Chava, Lo, thou hast seen what temptation have befallen us in this land. Come, let us arise and ask Elohim to forgive us of our transgressions we have committed, and we will not come unto the end of the day next to the 40th. And if we die herein, he will save us. Then Adam and Chava arose and joined together in entreating Elohim. They abode thus praying in the cave, neither did they come out of it by night or by day, until their prayers went up out of their mouths like a flame of fire. First scroll of Adam and Chava, chapter 59. But Satan, the hater of all that is good, did not allow them to end their prayers, for he called to his host, and they came, all of them. He then said to them, Since Adam and Chava, whom we beguiled, have agreed together to pray to Elohim night and day, and to entreat him to deliver them, and since they will not come out of the cave until the end of the 40th day, and since they will continue their prayers as they have both agreed to do, that he will deliver them out of our hands and restore them to their former state. See what we shall do unto them. And his hosts said unto him, Power is thine, O our Lord, to do what thou listest. Then Satan, great in his wickedness, took his hosts and came into the cave in the 30th night of the 40 days and 1. And he smote Adam and Chava until he left them dead. Then the word of Elohim came unto Adam and Chava, who raised them from their suffering. And Elohim said unto Adam, Be strong, and be not afraid of him who has just come to thee. But Adam wept and said, Where wast thou, O my Elohim, that they should smite me with such blows, and that this suffering should come upon us, upon me, and upon my wife Chava, thy handmaid? And then Elohim said unto him, O Adam, see, he is Lord and Master Baal of all that hast. He who said he would give thee divinity, where is this love from thee? And where is the gift he promised? For once has it pleased him, O Adam, to come to thee, to comfort thee, and to strengthen thee, and to rejoice with thee. and to send his host to guard thee? Because thou hast hearkened to him, and hast yielded to his counsel, and hast transgressed my commandments, but has followed his behest. Then Adam wept before YAHSHUA, and said, O YAHSHUA, because I transgressed a little, thou hast sorely plagued me in return for it. I ask thee to deliver me out of his hands, or else have pity on me, and take my soul out of my body now in this strange land. Then Elohim said unto Adam, if only there had been this sighing and praying before ere thou didst transgress, then wouldest thou have rest, shalom, from the trouble in which thou now art. But Elohim had patience with Adam, and let him and CHAVAH remain in the cave until they had fulfilled the 40 days. But as Adam and CHAVAH, their strength and flesh withered from fasting and praying, from hunger and thirst, for they had not tasted either food nor drink since they left the garden, nor were their functions of their bodies yet settled. And they had no strength left to continue in prayer from hunger, until the end of the next day, to the 40th. They were fallen down in the cave, yet what speech escaped from their mouth was only in praise. Baruch.